Hi, welcome back to King of Coffee. Some time ago we did a video, or 3 videos actually, on these 3 really popular filter machines to my right. We've got the Marco Thermos M, we've got the Bravilour Novo Pour and Serve, and we've got the Bravilour 75 cup percolator. Since we've done those videos, one of the things we're asked quite a lot is about cleaning, descaling and preventative maintenance. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through each of these, but before we do, the key is prevention. If you allow these machines to get too dirty or too scaled, it's quite hard sometimes bringing them back. So the key is to follow some simple instructions, and we do put them in every box when we sell the machine. But I think with a video presentation it might make life a little bit easier. So this is about stopping scale from building up by preventing it to happen in the first place. It's very, very simple, and if you do that with these machines, they would last you a long time. Essentially what we've got here is a number of cleaning products, and I will go through each one of these. There'll be links on the video later on to each one, but with a combination of what I've got here, of these 3 products, a brush or 2, a cloth, fantastic. What we'll do, you're going to end up with a piece of kit that's going to last you a long time. What I will do before we go on to these, I just want to draw your attention to this. This is a water boiler, okay? Now this particular piece of kit, something that was very similar to this, actually lives inside this machine here and this machine here. Now what can happen with this, it's extremely small, but it's effective. But if you allow the scale to build up inside, it can be very difficult to actually get rid of it. So the idea, as I said earlier on, is to stop it happening. Now, again, I'll talk more about that in the following 3 videos. So, I briefly touched upon the boiler. Key for this, as I mentioned before, is prevention. Now, the best thing is not to try to remove the scale when it's built up. It's a case of not having the scale there to begin with. The way to do that is use one of these. Now, we recommend this particular product. It's the Bravilour Renegite 50-gram sachet. I'll show you how to use this just in a little while. But essentially, by using one of those, you'll keep the scale out of here, and the boilers within the machines will continue to operate as they should do. So the first machine we're going to talk about in terms of descaling is this Bravilour Novo Pour and Serve. You'll probably note that I have some interesting looking glasses on right now. These are safety glasses because of course we're using chemicals. Health and safety being what it is, our advice of course is to put a pair on. So what I'm going to do is, this is the Renegite sachet that I spoke about earlier, and this is one we recommend, and we have found over many years of using them, they are perfect at getting the results you're looking for. So, with this particular machine, it's always advised that you pour cold water into it. And you do that when you're making coffee. If you put hot water into this machine, it feels like it's being rushed. It really doesn't like that, and when you turn it on, instead of dripping through as it should, it will sometimes spit and steam. So there is a bit of a conundrum here, because what we've got are some crystals in this particular sachet that I have here. So I'm going to tear off the top and pop them in here. Now we all know that when you put crystals into cold water, you could be there for months to some days stirring them because they just won't dissolve. So what I'm going to do is, I've changed the rules a little bit. I put hot water in here because of course the crystals will dissolve properly. Now at the moment, this solution looks a little bit cloudy, and so I'm just going to give it a good old stir. It won't take very long, but the cloudiness will go and you'll end up with a sort of clearer solution. This just ensures that all the crystals in there have been dissolved, because what you don't really want to do is pour the solution into this machine with crystals at the bottom, because they're just going as they in insoluble position and they just sit at the base and do nothing. So as you can see probably from here, that liquid is now become clearer. And what that's indicated is that everything in the base there is now dissolved, which is perfect. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to pour it in the back of the machine as one ordinarily would when making coffee. So I'm just going to pour it in here now. Now the amount of water I use, you can use 12 cups. But what I've done, I just filled it up with hot water to the base of this black rim, which is perfectly okay. The solution went in, I've mixed it in, I've poured it in the back. So, back to more legislation. The longer you leave descale solution in a machine, the better the results. However, it is recommended, of course, that you don't leave the machine while the solution's in there. I guess that's for the reason that you could just walk off. Someone could make a cup of coffee and well, the results wouldn't be great. So you have to stay with the machine while the chemicals are inside. Now, as I mentioned to you before, I've put a hot liquid in there, and so what I really need to do is let that temperature inside drop down a bit before I press the switch here for the process to start. My suggestion is you don't really want to spend all day staring at this machine, so perhaps if you spend 5 minutes in the presence of the machine while it's inside, that will be fine. And to be honest with you, that's generally okay. If, as I may have spoken about before, if you use 1 descale sachet for every case of coffee that you use. So for every sachet, that's 50 in a box. Every box that's used, you use 1 sachet, you're going to have no real build-up of scale. So the fact that you've put the solution in here, you only really have to wait for 5 minutes. It's not really a long process. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to stand and watch this machine as the legislation dictates. And I'll come back to you in a couple of minutes when it's cooled down, and then we'll go through the next process. So after 5 minutes, I'm back. Glass is in place. The solution has been in there now for 5 minutes, so it should be pretty okay to turn this machine on. So what we're going to do, there's 2 buttons on here. The bottom button on the Novo pour and serve, as I may have mentioned in previous videos, turns the machine on and operates the bottom plate. The top one just turns on the top plate. So what we need to do on this one, of course, is turn on the bottom one. So I'm just going to press that on. You know it's on because, of course, the orange light appears. Now, this could be the longest 6 minutes of your life if we watch this entire sort of process go through, so we're not. I'm going to come back to you in a minute, obviously when the solution has come through. Right, so I'm back. The 6-minute descale process is now ended. So the first thing I'm going to do, of course, is turn off the power button down here, and by doing that, the orange light goes out. So what we've got, a jug of clear water. That's a great indication there is no scale present in this boiler, which essentially means that this machine is cleaned on a regular basis. If you don't, quite often what happens is the liquid that comes through can look like a single mole. So this is nice and clear. It means it's done regularly, which is a great thing. So what do we do now? Well, the first thing we've got to do, of course, is get rid of this solution, and the best way to do it safely is just to pour it down the sink. What I'm going to do in a second is cut away from here, and we will go over to the sink, and then I will then show you how to empty this machine of the residual amount of liquid that's still in the boiler. Once that's done, we'll return to here. We need to do a couple of flush processes, and then your machine is ready to use. So we're now over by the sink, and what I'm going to do is show you how to empty this machine. It may seem a very simple thing to do, but what we're trying to avoid here is getting any liquid from inside the machine on any of the machine's electrics, for obvious reasons that it might short it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place my hand underneath, lift up this lid and pop my other hand in here, and literally, if you can see, I'm sort of tipping it at this angle here, and the liquid inside will come out the top, and it will also dispense from the rows underneath. But as you can see, none of the liquid that comes out is anywhere near the electrics. And when I say electrics, there's one point of entry that it's likely to happen. Of course, it's through the power buttons at the front. So we've now emptied the machine completely of liquid, and everything that is important is still dry. So what we're going to do now, of course, is just return to the bench, and I'll just show you the flush through process. The machine's been emptied. So essentially there is no liquid whatsoever in this boiler. Of course, what we want to do to make sure everything is safe is just flush it through. So really, we're talking about repeating the same process as we did earlier on, but this time just with clean cold water. So same process, lift the lid, pour in a jug of cold water into the back. There we go. Again, what I did is I just filled this jug up to the black line on here, so it's nice and easy. Pop the lid down, and all we're going to do now, of course, is press that bottom button that we spoke about before. 6-minute process, it will run it through, and then what you really want to do is take the machine back to the sink, empty it as I showed you before. Essentially then your machine has been descaled and it's ready to make coffee. Okay, just one last thing before we finish with the Novo pour and serve. We've been talking about preventative maintenance, about making sure that your machine continues to operate as it should do. I just wanted to point out one absolute no-no with this machine. This machine is a filter coffee machine, and of course the filter coffee is meant to go in the pan at the front. If you manage somehow to put the contents of this sachet in the back where the water normally goes. You're going to find it goes all down into the boiler, and I'm afraid to say there is no video presentation that can really resolve that. That is quite a major job. So just be aware, coffee in a filter pan and not in the back, which is just solely for the water. So I'd just like to say thank you for watching this Kingdom Coffee video. We hope that we've explained the whole process clearly. Of course, if you have any questions at all, you're more than welcome to contact the office. Our contact details will be at the bottom of this video. Again, thanks for watching.